So over the past couple of days, people have been having a lot of issues with building manual transactions in the Kin laboratory, and there's 4 common issues that have popped up, and we're going to give a quick rundown on troubleshooting those challenges. The first issue that you may receive is media type not supported. This usually means that you're on a test network or custom network and not able to successfully send to the Kin Horizon node. So if you're getting that error, just make sure that you are on the public network. It's https horizon.kinfederation.com. And if that error persists, ask it in one of the question threads on Reddit, and we can continue to help troubleshoot. The next error that you might get quite commonly is the transaction is TX too late. So this is a fairly common one, and I've already set up some transactions for us to look at in troubleshooting. So we can go back and see that in the initial page we've set the time bounds, and we said 1 and 2. So the time bounds are in something called a Unix timestamp, and those are complicated, ugly strings that computers use to standardize time in Unix time. So what you need to know here is there's a little Unix timestamp button underneath that'll open up this handy converter for you. Set the date to 24 hours in advance and hit human date to timestamp, and you'll get this epoch timestamp that you can copy and paste. So go back to the Kin laboratory and take your epoch timestamp, copy that, and paste it in. This is basically saying that this transaction is valid from the very beginning of epoch time until 24 hours from now. That will give the transaction lots of time to be submitted successfully to the blockchain, even if there's a delay. What the TX too late means is that the upper bounds of this transaction time has already expired, and the blockchain no longer sees it as valid. Now, one of the other errors that you might commonly be getting is the OP no destination error. So I've set up this payment transaction where we want to send 1 kin to this wallet address. And if I go through and I sign the transaction, I sign it with the right BIP path in my wallet, and I try to submit it to the end post. It takes a few moments, and then it says transaction failed, operation OP no destination. So in Stellar, and therefore in the Kin blockchain, wallets do not exist just because we generated a key pair. If I already have a public address and a private address for a wallet, that doesn't make it exist. It needs to already have a balance of 2 kin in order for it to exist and be able to send payments to it. So how do we create a wallet the first time and send a payment to it? If we go back to that front page and change our operation type from payment, well, first we should copy the key that we need to send it to, and then we'll change the operation type from payment to create account. We'll add in that same destination and a starting balance here of 2, and then we can go through and sign it in the transaction signer, do that same process, and successfully send that transaction, activating the wallet for the first time. If you're not on a ledger and you're confused, you don't need to use the sign with BIP path. That is only for ledger wallets. You would be adding a signer. This is where you're going to enter the secret key of the wallet you're signing. So it's just like if you're using MyEther wallet and you log in using your private key, here you're signing the transaction with your private key from the wallet that you want to send from. The final option that you might get if you're on a ledger device is the U2F issue. This is basically some sort of communication between the browser and your ledger wallet is breaking down. So recently Chrome's update broke the U2F transactions between Chrome and ledger devices. So on certain versions of Chrome, especially prominent in Mac OS right now, the U2F is supposed to set a window where it waits upon a response from the ledger. Right now, if you're using those certain versions of Chrome, you'll find that your ledger is timing out the transaction within a few seconds, and you're not getting a chance to review or approve or reject the transaction. It's just automatically failing for you. So the first steps there are try updating Chrome. You may also find this on other browsers that are based on Chromium, so that may pop up on Brave, it may pop up on certain versions of Firefox. Update the browser to the latest version. If you're still having issues, right now the Ledger team is recommending that you use the latest version of Opera or Safari, which do seem to be U2F stable. The other reasons that you may get the U2F issue popping up is because your wallet isn't unlocked, like you haven't unlocked your Ledger device by punching in your key, or that the Kin app isn't open on the Ledger. You need to have the specific Kin app open on the Ledger in order to sign a Kin transaction. You may also run into issues where you're seeing that something is not a successful BIP path. This means that you've typed in the BIP path incorrectly. On Kin, they use the 44 2017 1 through 9 path options for the Ledger Nano devices. This is different than the Stellar variant, so if you've got your Ledger set up and you've been signing Stellar transactions in the past, it's a totally different BIP format, so just make sure that that's punched in correctly. So those should be the most common errors that you're running into in the Kin laboratory in building a manual transaction. I've not seen anybody posting on Reddit any other errors so far. If you have any, feel free to reach out, post in some of our frequently asked questions threads, and we'll try and help you troubleshoot it.